Hello, everyone. My name is Jorge Diaz, president and founder of Larry Jacob Internet Marketing and an Infusionsoft Certified Consultant. I'm here with another episode of How Do You Define Infusionsoft Success? And this week, I have the pleasure of hosting Jennifer Sparkle Johnson. And I just love that name, Jennifer Sparkle Johnson. How are you today?
I'm fabulous. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Happy to be here.
Good, good. No, glad to have you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to spend some time with me. So Jennifer is someone that I met about a month ago in Phoenix when I was attending it was like a one-day seminar that Jackie McAllister was running. And she was there with, she's actually supporting a friend of hers who was one of the presenters. She's a coach. Her friend is a coach, and then she's a coach. And we struck up a great conversation, during one of the breakouts about sales, because she particularly focuses on sales. She has a slant towards female entrepreneurs. And I go, this is a good topic because so many of us just need help in that space. So I thought I'd bring her on and again, offer another resource to my audience. Jennifer, why don't you kind of introduce yourself? How did you get into this? All that exciting, great stuff.
Yeah. Well, they call me Jennifer Sparkle Johnson. I did not create the name myself, basically because I do enjoy shining light all around myself and others.
Oh, so that's not that's not like a maiden name. That's like a brand.
No, my clients and my colleagues started calling me that, and it just stuck. So that's not my legal name. Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's on your signature, right?
It is. That's how most people just call me Sparkle. So it just, it just evolved into that.
It works.
Yeah, and I built and designed my business so that I could do what I love, helping people, and also volunteer in the community, because both of those are very important to me. And as I was building my coaching business, it became really clear how much I love helping people know how to build their business, who's my client, all those things. I call them the simple steps, which anybody can do as far as looking something up. I call it shelf help. You can find it off a bookshelf and it'll help you. But at the same time, what I noticed was how many women and men also, but how many people actually struggle with asking for the sale, and how many people will do almost anything to avoid it. So they come and they'll be talking, they might go to a networking meeting, and they love what they do, they have a passion about what they do, but they don't know how to turn it into a sale. They don't know how to build a business around it. And so that's when I got really clear of, I love sales. People need help with sales. How can I serve the community? So that's really how it started.
Got you. So your typical, I guess, client is someone who wants to be coached, but their area where, they're really looking to improve is in sales, right?
Yes. And honestly, it comes down to everything from attorneys to entrepreneurs that are starting their business. It's whether someone wants to go to six figures and they don't know how to incorporate sales into their business when they're first starting out. I work with a lot of network and direct marketing people who want to build their teams and their consultants. But I also help those people that are already making really good numbers, right? They're already at their six figures and they just want to expand their business and they're stuck. And they can't figure out why they're stuck. And sometimes it's just that little shift of the mindset around the sales that will take them from, staying stuck at that six figure to actually going for the seven figures for those that are really driven to do it.
Okay, so there's a place for you regardless of if you're just starting off or you're farther along.
Yes, that's the first thing we do is really diagnose where are you and what do you really want.
Okay. And by the way, your byline, you don't have to be a size 6 to make six figures. I love that.
Thank you.
So, way to go.
Yeah.
So here I am. I'm an entrepreneur, and let's say I'm already making. I'm just picking a number. I'm making, I don't know, 10,000 a month, and as cool as that sounds, I really know that over the next year or two, I want to be at 30,000 a month, and I'm just making up these numbers. So how do you start, or how would I think? Maybe Jennifer, or some sales training or some sales coaching would help.
Yeah, well, the first thing to really think about is how comfortable are you with the sales conversation? And if we back step it a little bit, how comfortable are you in general with the initial conversation? I call them curious conversations. Some people will call them just strategy sessions or discovery sessions or whatnot. I call it a curious conversation, and there's a couple reasons. The first reason is I like to listen. I'm very curious to hear where someone is stuck. And it's my job as the leader of that conversation to say, okay, most people will say where they're stuck, and sometimes that's true, sometimes not so much, right? And so I get to really listen for where they're stuck and what they truly need. And it's about listening, okay, this is where they're stuck, this is what they need. Am I the right person? Am I the right coach to take them out of their struggle and to help them exceed to where they want to go, or not? Everybody's not a good fit. So in this curious conversation, I'm hearing where they're stuck. Am I the right person? If I am, we'll continue the conversation to the next level. If not, I'm listening for, okay, this is what this person's like. This is their personality. And by talking to someone and hearing their answers, I can tell what their money type is. I call it your money DNA. Right. I can find out who a good match for them would be if it's not me. So either I can help them, or I can at least refer them to someone who can help them out of their struggle. So sometimes it's not just how do I improve my sales. It really goes back to the first step. How do I get that initial one-on-one relationship built to really establish the relationship of trust, like, know, and trust, right? So when we have like, know, and trust, then we can move on to an actual curious conversation to see where someone does need help.
Right. You know, and interesting, you're describing your sales tactics process as well, right? Because here you are, you're listening to them, you're trying to tune in, and this is one of the reasons I really thought that you'd be a good match for our program, because you're doing that pushing away thing. Maybe we're not a match for you. Maybe we're not a good connection. And in my sales coach, my training, that was a real mind shift for me. It's kind of like, you have to not want that sale. You have to, I mean, or at a minimum, don't be so emotionally tied to it that it's like obvious.
Yes.
It influences the way you deal with things. But then just as important, it's like, hey, if we're not a match, that's okay, but I'm probably a good person to help you get to the next person, if you're not a match for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because we all aren't the right match for each other. And I don't want all the people in the world to be my client. It wouldn't work. I couldn't serve the ones that are meant to connect with me, right? If I had clients that weren't a good fit. And the other thing, and this is just me personally, when I'm talking with someone and I'm thinking about, how do they need help and am I the person? It's an intimate conversation. It's about really establishing that relationship with each other. If someone's investing a lot of money in themselves through your support, right? Because again, they're investing in themselves. They're not investing in me. They're about to change their life. It's an intimate relationship, and I care about that conversation. And that's exactly, you said it perfectly. So thank you, because it's not about, I need this client. No, it's never going to work out well if you have that kind of energy. We've all experienced salesy people who have that energy of, oh my gosh, I need this client, whether they have to pay rent, a car payment, whatever. Yeah. And when you come from a place of service, of I would love to support you with where you're stuck, it's totally a different conversation.
Yeah. And by the way, I mean, it's up here because, you may need to pay the rent next week and there may not be enough money there to pay for it. But you have to figure out a way to kind of shift those into two parts of your psyche, I guess.
Right. You can try and put on a mask of, I can do this, right? Energetically, it's going to come through. So we actually have some specific steps to help you get out of your head, because it's exactly what you were stuck up here. Same thing when I say you're with the size 6 to make 6 figures, whether you're size 2 or 22, it's all up here. Yeah. It's all the stuff we tell ourselves.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. There are certain, what's the right word for it when you say defining moments, and one of them for me was I think it was one of those days that you're going through there and the coach is asking you check off which one of these things apply to you, and one of them was emotionally tied to the sale, and I could go back in the last 2 weeks and I wanted this one so bad. And first of all, it made my life miserable, whether I got it or not. And it just it clearly didn't improve the way things were going. And that was like one of those things that's like, okay, I got to stop doing this one thing particularly. And I'm sure different people have different things, especially given your money DNA thing is, I'm sure, a big part of this, right?
Yes, absolutely. So what I do is I do a money assessment to help people understand what their money style is. I say your money DNA, which just simply means after you take the assessment, we know what your money style is, your unfiltered thought around money. So there are some people who have a certain type they're going to be just natural rock stars at sales. They just automatically are because it's super easy for them and comfortable. There are others where it is an entire struggle. Like they just choke on their words almost because it's just not their natural personality. Yeah. So what I do is I take them through a series of exercises to help them get comfortable with it. And one of them truly is about really knowing your money DNA, what is the most supportive thing for you based on your type, and what the challenge is. So once you really can see what the challenges are, of course, you can make different choices. And the other thing is really walking through exercises that help people let go of their money story, because we all have a money story, how we grew up and heard about money. Well, if we're still bringing that into our conversations, whether we realize it or not, it can absolutely halt our sales.
Yeah, and you know, I always bring up, you know, those, they still make quarter gumball machines. Although back when you and I, not that you're, you know, whatever, you know, the 25-cent gumball machines were like a big deal. And you got more than a little gumball like you did today. And I remember, I don't think my brother and I ever, and we didn't even bother asking. You know, my parents, you know, my dad actually did really well. But when we were little, they were immigrants. They had just gotten here. And it's funny, every time I go by one of those things, I'm going to put a quarter in there just for fun.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
But that really influences. I mean, it's amazing how the way you were raised with money affects the way you think about buying things, and how that really affects you know, the way you're going to be able to sell in your business, right?
Absolutely. It affects how you buy things or how you won't. So depending on your certain style, you may just be a rock star and you love sales and you love to buy things for your business and to expand your business, right? That's fabulous. But let's say you have a team that works with you. You're a spender, you're fine with spending, and let's say the manager who orders all the things, you know, they're the type that hates to spend money. They just hate to let go of it, right? And it's almost like a white knuckle thing. Well, their personality is to hang on to everything. So if you have your team who will one there's good in that, in the sense that they aren't just going to frivolously waste your money, but at the same time they might also be really stopping you from growing. So what it does when you know your money type, it helps you absolutely, but it also helps those around you, because it helps you understand their money thought process, and it gives you communication skills from respect versus what can happen, which is underlying resentment when things aren't shared. And think about it, the number one reason for divorce is money. So if you know how to talk to your spouse and you know how to talk to your team about money, all good.
Yeah, and I'm sure this comes up a lot, is when I'm, you know, if I go years back, one of my coaches was going, George, you're not selling to you. Because, I mean, him and I knew each other pretty well. And, I mean, I'm an engineer. And I think it has less to do with money. It's like I'm very analytical. And, you know, I'm one of those guys that, you know, when they have those, you know, you go to one of these seminars and they go, well, how many of you have stuff on your shelf that you've bought and you've never used? And the whole room goes up. And I'm kind of like, nope. I mean, I might have one, you know, that it's like, why did I buy that stupid thing? But I'm just like, I'm going to buy it when I need it. And I don't care if it's only, you know, on sale or the deal ends at the end of the month. I'm going to buy something, or else I'm, you know, why? And I was selling my services to someone like me, which meant they really had to know all the details and whatever. And it wasn't until I got a call from a guy who did a search, you know, for Infusionsoft Consultant, and found me on page 6, he said. And he says, you're like the first person in here that doesn't look like an info marketer. I think I finally found a consultant. And I go, yeah, you did, whatever, and the whole thing. And the guy ka-chings me, you know, $2,000 a couple days later. That, to me, you know, I talked about the first defining moment. That one was like, oh my gosh, people will actually pay me money without even meeting me. And that was so foreign to me that it was really stopping my sales.
Yes, and like attracts like. Right? Like attracts like. And the other thing that I love about, so the program that I walk people through, it's called 6-Figure Sacred Sales. Many reasons for that title. And the main thing to think about is sales, it doesn't have to be sleazy or icky. It really is a sacred experience. It's the exchange of money. It's the exchange of service, right? And the beauty for me is when you are showing up to have a sales conversation, for me, curious conversation, when you're showing up to have that conversation, It's not about me. It's about what does this person in front of me need to get out of their pain point or their struggle? How can I help them stop spinning on the wheel that they're on? Because when people are open to having that conversation with you, it's because they finally reached that pain point and they want change. So it's not about me at all. It's about how can I help them?
Yeah. No, and I
Yeah.
think, getting past that. So it's not like, oh, someone's going to pay me X amount of money for me to build something. It's like someone's got a problem, and this thing that I can build is going to solve the major headache for them, which then makes pricing, even terms. And I was talking yesterday to a friend of mine. We had mentioned the lady from the chamber, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, George, that makes so much sense." And it was like, again, 3 years ago for me that was something new, and now I guess it's just part of my psyche now.
Yes. And I love the objections part. I mean, people laugh. They're like, when they first meet me, they're like, you love sales? You don't look like you love sales. I'm like, I love sales. And objections are fun because for me, objections, I like to call the BS card, right? It's like, most people say, oh, I don't have the money. Well, that's true. That might be true for you, right? That's fine. And it's total BS. And by BS, I simply mean your belief system, right? Because of the fact that if it's important enough, you will find the money. I've done it. Everybody who has really wanted something, they found a way to make it happen. It might not be easy to find a way, but you will find a way if it's important enough to fix it now.
Right.
So objections are my favorite part.
Well, and what's worse is when you have no objections, either they're not engaged, they don't care, in which case, that's when you get like, let me get back to you, and it's like, oh, tell me no already.
Yeah, well, you know quickly in the conversation if somebody's really ready for change or not. So, yeah.
Cool. So I mean, just tell me, like, what type of person would be your favorite kind of customer or client to work with?
My favorite client to work with is somebody who knows they love what they offer, whether it's a product or a service, and they really just want help to get over that sales icky feeling. If they find themselves avoiding the follow-up calls, if they find themselves going to a networking but hanging out in the back of the room because they don't know how to network, and they really want to take their message, again, their service or their product, they want to take it forward to the community to help people, but they just don't feel confident and comfortable doing it. They might have a few sales here and there, but if you don't have consistent growth in your business, we can change that. So let's make it simple. Let's make it more fun. And it's all about just, it's a gut check. Do you love sales? No, they might not, right? So they don't have to want to love sales. They just have to want to help more people with their product or service.
Right. And I tell you, any business, if sales is a problem, everything's a problem.
Everything's a problem.
Yeah.
Everything's a problem. I was reminding, I was at a conversation with someone once and she said, I could never do sales. I'm like, everything is a sale. And she said, what do you mean? I said, look at your outfit. What are you wearing? Did you buy it? Right? We just went through that whole process. And she's like, well, I did because I love it. And so it's changing the mindset of what sales is and what it isn't. And it doesn't have to be an awkward, very icky, unga-bunga, old, salesman from the car dealership feeling. Right. That is so old school, and that is not the way a lot of people want to receive you and experience you as you're making your offer. People want to be respected and heard. So if we respect them by showing up to the conversation in a certain way, and we hear them for what they're really struggling with, and make them an offer for what's going to help them with what you heard them say, not what, you think they need. Because oftentimes people want to just like sell or offer something that they think the client needs. Well, the client really needs to be having a voice in that. They're going to tell you what they need, and they may need additional or they may need something else. But at the same time, you have to honor with where they're starting. You have to meet them where they're at.
Yeah, and that's where, I like your curious conversation. If you ask those questions of curiosity, most customers will easily tell you what they want. You just have to make sure you ask the right questions, right?
Exactly. And sometimes sometimes, like I said, it starts off as one thing and it's absolutely something else, but it's not for me to say that for them and to decide for them. I have to walk them through the process. And as you're walking through those questions and really being curious of where they're stuck, it's also about, oh, they're stuck with this, and helping them see, here's the value if you go ahead and handle that.
Gotcha. Well, yeah, Jennifer, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate that. If any of our program listeners wanted to reach you, how would they find you?
On Facebook, super simple, Jennifer Sparkle Johnson, or my website is thejenniferjohnson.com.
And it's not Jennifer Johnston, it's Johnson, right?
Johnson, Johnson.
Great. Well, hey, thank you so very much. I appreciate your time, and I'm sure this will be a helpful lot of
fun. It's been fun. I hope it helps, yes.
Take care.
Thanks, bye-bye.